One of the questions that I get a lot about the keyboards I play revolve around the Yamahas, especially the new keyboard that I purchased a few months ago. It's called the Yamaha DGX 670. Now, on this channel, a lot of people have seen me talk about the Korg brand, the Trident, the Ensoniq, and even the Yamaha motif. But there's a lot of puzzlement regarding why I would buy this keyboard and why I would even show it. There's this misnomer that it's an amateur keyboard. Well, it's not an amateur keyboard. It's not a bad keyboard at all, and I would like to highlight some of the features of this keyboard by diving into the Yamaha DGX quick manual. So let me go over this with you a little bit for those of you who asked the question. First of all, this keyboard has got a graded hammer standard, which means when you hit the keys, you can dictate the velocity a lot more than the average keyboard, which just has one velocity and no range. It's very realistic. It responds to touch fairly well. When it comes to the voices, you've got 630 voices of high quality. You have great grand piano voicing. You got 29 drum kits. It's got a 256 note polyphony, which means you can press, if you could, there are only 88 keys, but imagine you could stagger those keys on top of each other 3+ times. That's pretty much what that means. It's hard to run out of the ability to play notes. Like some other keyboards, they quit after you play 16 notes or 30 notes. This means you can do a lot of layering. It has super articulation voices, VRM, virtual resonance modeling, 263 auto accompaniment styles. I have barely scratched the surface in these styles. And it has reverb for you to put on the different voices, choruses, DSP. Think about it like this. It's hard to run out of room when you're using this keyboard. The options are truly endless. It's a truly amazing keyboard to use. I would encourage anyone who happens to get an opportunity to try it out to please try it out. You won't be disappointed. It's got a master equalizer. It's got a really great user interface. It's not as big as the motif. It's not as big as the Korgs, but it has a full color display. It's got 100 preset songs. You can actually learn from the keyboard as well. It's got 16 track MIDI recording, which in my mind is more than what a lot of people even need. It's got a USB audio recorder with vocal cancel, which means you can bring in songs and then you can hear those songs without the voices. It's got time stretch and pitch shift, playlist function. What really tripped me, I'm telling you, none of my other keyboards can do this. This one is absolutely bananas. But it has a Bluetooth audio receiver. So when I was playing around with Stevie Wonder's song, Superstition, I was trying to get the horn lines. I Bluetoothed from my phone into the keyboard to hear from the speakers in the keyboard the song. And I was able to break it down and stop it, but I heard it in that full stereo coming through the keyboard speakers in Bluetooth. I could not do that with any other keyboard because I guess they don't have speakers. So I know the fact that this keyboard has speakers, it makes it look trivial. Don't be deceived by that, my friends. This is a really awesome find. As the manual says, it's elegant, it's stylish, it's packed full of highlights. It provides musicians of all levels with a multi-purpose playing experience. And the Bluetooth connectivity, like I said, just makes it the icing on the cake. It's truly amazing. So if you've not played with this keyboard, I want you to, when you get a moment, maybe when you go to your next music store, check it out. I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. One thing I like about this is you could buy the stand. If this was the only keyboard piano that you had, like people who say, I live in an apartment complex, I'm not able to get a full-blown piano. This, I'm telling you, does a great job of not only entertaining you, but it gives you a good run for your money in terms of practice. So if you're the kind of person who reads, well, you've got a stand that you can put your music up there and you can practice. And here's the spec sheet. All the features that I talked about, the very impressive ones. Graded hammer standard. Don't you hate playing keyboards that don't have weighted keys sometimes? Well, not this one. The weighting is world standard in my mind. I've played some other weighted keyboards and they're not as good as this one. I know it's just $800. That's the pricing, but it is, in my mind, 4 times. It's worth 4 times more than what the price is, which is why I thought, what Yamaha? What happened to you? Did you become Santa Claus overnight? Because this is just a crazy dead giveaway for 800. You know what I did? I think I explained it on the channel, didn't I? I told you that I traded in a bunch of things. I traded in previous keyboards I had. I traded in a lot of stuff to be able to get it. I traded in my drum machine, traded in a bunch of things anyway. But at the end of the day, I think I paid $125 to get this keyboard. $125. But it was worth it. I'm glad I did. I traded in my Korg 200 SP, and I traded in my LP Conga, big Conga, traded in a number of gadgets. I've traded in a few things anyway. But when all was said and done, plugged it in. I've never been happy about a trade-in that I made at Guitar Center. Alright, so those are the features, my friends. I just wanted to go over this with you because I know some of you are a little bit hesitant. You haven't really dug into what it has. Don't let the speakers deceive you. The speakers make it look a little bit like a toy. I know, because most keyboards, professional keyboards, they don't have that speaker view, right? No one is looking for a professional keyboard with a speaker, but trust me, you'll not be disappointed, both by virtue of the sound, the functionality. I guarantee you, you'll probably spend another year just trying to master the functionality, because it is very vast. I've barely scratched the surface. If you watch my recent videos, I just started doing a little bit more sequences with it. The sequencing piece of it is good, but it's challenging because it's everything that's new always poses a challenge. Like when I first got the Motif XF8, it was a challenge. I wasn't able to effectively sequence on it. It took a while. So you got to be patient with a keyboard like this. You know, it takes time. But if you put in the time and the effort, like I'm in it for the long haul, it might take me 5 years to master all the functionality, because I have other keyboards and other tools that I use to create my music. It's not just this DGX 670. This is like 1/10 of the firepower that I have in my arsenal of tools and VSTs and sequencing gadgets, you know. But I grew up in a time where you didn't have Cubase. Not everyone had Cubase or Cakewalk or whatever tools you use for your music, right? The most popular ones. The Pro Tools of this world, they didn't exist. It was in the age of, big old 4-inch tape and reel to reel and stuff. That's the era I grew up in. Going into studios, that's what I had to use. I didn't have this luxury. So when sequencing keyboards came out, that was that was groundbreaking. That was like AI back in those days. And then it went from that to getting the 8-track tape and the Motu and all sorts of other groundbreaking devices in music. But that's where we are today with this. So in my mind, this, even though it seems going back, it's good to go through the motions in learning how to sequence on different tools, and in that way you're not held back. When you have a limited amount of arsenal, you're still able to make it happen, whether it's a keyboard such as this that you have, or it's something more expensive. Whatever the case, you will still be able to make music, right? So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'll get off my soapbox. Thanks for joining, and yeah, give the keyboard a try. Bye for now.